Is this one of
Yeah.
the most contagious diseases you've ever come across?
It's pretty contagious. Look, measles is more contagious. Measles has an R naught like above 10.
Wow. Okay. So there's a whole nother stratosphere.
But the difference is most of us are immune because we have a vaccine for it.
Hmm.
So, in actuality, it's in today, it's not as dangerous. If we had no vaccine for it and we had no immunity to it, it would be definitely more dangerous. But we have a vaccine, and most of us have immunity. Um, Side note: for all those who are thinking about not taking the measles vaccine, um, here's a little interesting factoid for you. Unlike other infections, so normally if you get the flu or a common cold, your body remembers it. Your body has memory B cells. So next time I see it, I recognize it. Aha! I'm going to go into my memory B cell archive, bring out the antigen that recognizes it, and attack it right away, and you won't get sick. And this is what immunity is, right? Um, I've seen this virus before. My body's built up resistance, attack. So all these memory B cells hold all these old viruses that you've previously fought off. Hundreds, if not thousands, of viruses that you've had ever since you're a kid to your adulthood. Probably had been sick, with hundreds of viruses. Well, if you get measles, the measles wipes out that memory bank.
That's not good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is really bad.
I
So
didn't
like
know
every
that.
single disease that Wow. you built up resistance to, it deletes that entire resistance memory bank in your B cells. And that's why measles is extra bad. So please vaccinate. Don't get measles, because it will destroy all your life's work in building up resistance.
I wonder how anti-vaxxers are gonna be after this pandemic. Like,
Oh, they're gonna
if
take that. They're gonna take
I
that.
think this is gonna
Yeah.
change some minds.
Well, what? How do you convince an anti-vaxxer to get a measles shot? I mean, well, short of a pandemic, let's hope that maybe this wakes them up a little bit. They were just living a little too
I hope
cushy
so
of a
too.
life.
A lot of the argument that the vaccine company, the anti-vaxxers say is, oh, it's just a corporate scheme to get rich, or it's big pharma scheme, or it's like these big billionaires in the world profiteering from it. These world leaders sitting in their thrones. How can we profit? Let's make people vaccinate. No, think about it. Who's dying? Like, you have famous people who are like dying, super rich people who are dying. You have the prime minister, you have the Prince Charles, you have Tom Hanks, you have Idris Elba, you have like everyone is getting it. It's like, it's not like some conspiracy. Like, and look, we're shutting down, we're literally killing our economy, and spiking millions of unemployment and stock market tanking and the GDP crashing. That's not, in certain ways, that blows up any of this like corporate conspiracy theory about the vaccines, that it was all a big for-profit scheme. No one's profiting from this vaccine right now. No one in their right
They'll
mind would
figure it
blow up the
out. They'll
economy.
figure out some explanation for why not to
I
take it.
wonder if
Yeah.
scientists and people who do what you do, people like you, if you get personally offended when people are like anti-vaxxers. It's like we work
it,
on.
it is
Putting
really
in your face, really, your life's work. Yeah.
yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. Luckily, there's something called herd immunity, that if we immunize enough people, herd immunity is like, for example, if you're in a crowded room, you're on this side of the room, I'm on this far side. Um, you have the virus, I don't. But if most of the people in the middle of the room, most of them, by most I mean depending on the virus, but like 80, 90% of them have immunity, then the chance of that virus hop skipping through the room to me is low, right? But if only 50% of people have immunity, oh, that virus is still going to find its way and to skip to me, right? So that's herd immunity, if enough people have immunity.
So they
So,
they have the luxury of being anti-vaxxers because we vaccinate.
yeah, they have the luxury that
Yeah.
if we enough
Otherwise,
people
they
vaccinate,
die.
but
Yeah.
it's dropping so much in some places that hence you have these measles vaccine outbreaks again. these whooping cough
What
pertussis
the hell?
outside.
What do you think of that when you see that? You're like, there are outbreaks of measles and whooping cough. I mean, what honestly do you make of that? What
I think it's really irresponsible. It's like how I see, these people going on spring break in the middle of a pandemic, right? And having coughing parties and like, what are you
parties.
doing?
But see, here's the problem: is that the way you just described the virus to me, unchecked, is a horrific, really a horrific sight that nobody would want. These kids, they listen to the media, the president. There's a lot of people downplaying the severity, and frankly, also on the ground, they're like, "Hey, I don't see anyone sick. Everything's good here. Everyone's fine." So unfortunately, it's almost like a failure of imagination, and it seems,
or just of education.
well, it seems like this kind of pandemic. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but you have this global pandemic like once every 100 years, and these kids, and even, I mean, most people living today can't tell you what it was like to live through the Spanish flu, and so how can that
still alive?
Right? I mean, so who can really grasp what we're dealing with?
Yeah, so I think first of all, there's thing in public health right now. Like vaccines normally, when they work, like they're so effective. Like for example, let's take something that's more like less abstract. If 100 people gets injured or run over by cars at this busy LA intersection, gosh, we better put in a crossing signal or a sky walking bridge, right? And then after you put in a crossing signal or a sky bridge, the next year almost nobody gets run over at this intersection anymore. But we paid for, and then they're like, "Oh, we wasted all that money putting this stupid sky bridge and putting this stupid traffic light here. Oh, what were we doing? Such a waste." But thing is, if public health interventions are successful, the whole point is nothing happens, right? And you are exactly right on the failure of imagination, because people appreciate medicine because doctors are like mechanics. Your car breaks down, your body breaks down, they fix it. Give you some medicine, give you some surgery, and then, thank you, doctor. You fixed my car, you fixed my body. But in public health, the whole point is that you don't even get sick. You don't get that car accident. You don't get that measles. You don't get that heart attack that sends you to the ER in the first place. And everyone's blissfully ignorant.
Right.
And then no one says thank you. Who do I thank for saving my life today? I could have been run over.
And worse yet, they'll call you a fear monger.
Exactly.
When you're actually trying to
exactly.
So
certain ways, if public health intervention was successful and everyone had heard my big alarmist ringing of the whistle and the blowing the horn, and this epidemic was stopped in its track, they would have called me a fearmonger, because if public health is successful, the outcome is nothing happened.
That's a tough job.
Yeah, it's a tough job.
And that's what's happening with the vaccine. Like, no one remembers measles. Whooping cough, what is that?
Right.
Polio, what is that? No one has that anymore. It's like, you're making that up. No one's that sick.
Right.